All right, welcome back to the TCS studio. We got Ravens Will over here. I'm Robert. He got his Ravens colors on and everything today.
It was blue and white, not blue and black.
Well, it's close. Got the blue. All right, we're going to talk a little bit in this segment about some news we broke on the website yesterday. And one of the big questions, obviously, after Tyson went down and late in the orange-white game was, what is Clemson going to do about the backup quarterback? Dabo talked, he was asked about that. Are you going to look at the portal? And he didn't say, yes, we're going to the portal. He said, we got 3 guys coming in this summer. A couple of those, as we know, are also baseball players. And one of those, Bubba Chandler, has a great chance of being a very high draft pick. So he's kind of a one to watch, question mark. Gavin had an interview with him. He talked about that earlier this week on the Clemson Insider. We had some stuff in Monday's Insider Report where we've heard that he's definitely got a potential to be real high. So the question is going to be, does a team, and it only takes one, meet what he's going to be looking for as far as dollar signs go? But the news we broke yesterday, Will, and
News you broke, by the way.
news we broke was that Clemson has investigated the possibility of going in the portal and getting a transfer quarterback. We released that information. We were able to confirm. We actually spoke with a person that Clemson had talked to. Coach Pearman had been in touch with, a guy that Clemson recruited back in the day. We don't want to give this guy's name out. We had some questions yesterday. Well, why won't you give the name out? Well, the reason we're not giving the name out is because this young man finished playing his college football. He's now got a current job. We know what he's doing, where he's doing, all that stuff. But he's currently employed. So it's not fair to him to put this information out unless he makes a decision that this is something he wants to pursue. Obviously, he would love for his current employer not to know that he's out there having other options for employment. So, But the news is, we know Danny Pearman talked to at least this player. So we know they're investigating the portal.
Absolutely, and that's what the story was all about, was the fact that Clemson is, Dabo was vague about would they go to the portal and look for a quarterback who, and the thing about the guy you're talking about, the candidate you're talking about, he fits what Clemson would want at that position for this 1 year. A graduate transfer, a guy who just wants to come to Clemson to maybe have the possibility of winning a national championship. He's a 1-year guy. He's a guy that's got a lot of experience. Whatever you want to throw in there, that's what they're looking for this 1 year. So that's very important to understand. And so your report shows that Clemson is investigating it, that they did jump into the portal not even a week after the spring game. That's the story.
Doesn't mean they're going to get this guy.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're going to take anybody else.
Exactly.
But they are investigating the possibility.
Exactly, because they don't know, because Bubba Chandler doesn't know what he's going to do. So Clemson's got to have a plan in place. If this guy, because listen, as I said before during the week, if his name comes, if you hear Bubba Chandler's name in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft, that means he's going, because in baseball, Robert, as you know and I know, negotiations, it's not like the NFL where they get drafted and then they negotiate. No, they've already negotiated the contract.
If his name gets called, they've already agreed on a number, because he's going to tell them what number it's going to take for him to go play baseball instead of enrolling at Clemson to play football and baseball. So you're exactly right. If his name gets called in that first round, maybe even second round, he's not coming to Clemson.
Exactly. If you hear Bubba Chandler's name, odds are he's not coming to Clemson. So, so that's kind of what Dabo Sweeney and them they understand that. And so they're trying to say, okay, what's plan B? And they've obviously decided they needed to go in and just test the water, see what's there, what's available, know what they're looking for. They're looking for something very specific. Remember, go back to a couple weeks back, Dabo was asked about the transfer portal, talking after Darren Kendrick left, right? The situation there. And Dabo says it has to be a guy that they see is, all conference caliber kind of guy, a guy who's got experience, a guy who can come in and fit their culture and just fit right in with the team.
But I think this is a little bit different.
Yeah, well,
I think in general, if you're going in the portal, that's what you're looking for. I think this is different, because if you're looking for an all-purpose guy, you're looking for that guy to come in and start.
Right.
And contribute, for sure.
Yeah.
This scenario is different, because you'd love to get that.
Right.
But what you're really looking for a guy that's okay coming in knowing DJ's going to be the guy. But knowing that if DJ goes down or gets hurt,
They can win with him.
he gets a chance to be the guy and showcase on a program like Clemson and go to the playoffs. So there's a huge opportunity if anything was to happen to DJ. But you got to get somebody, and that's why it's interesting. You got to get somebody that's got the right mindset, knowing, hey, I may go to Clemson, I may not play except for backup duty all year long, but I get to enjoy the benefits of being at Clemson and all the great things that happens with the Clemson football program. I think Dabo's answer you're talking about more was, like in corner, hey, if we feel like we need another guy that can come in and play a lot at corner, we're not just going to go get an average corner. We're only going to do that if we can find somebody that's really high end, all conference, etc.
That's correct. Yeah, you're right on that. And it's just, again, it goes, and as you said earlier, the main thing with this quarterback situation, because of who's coming in next year, because of who they're recruiting, it can only really be a one-year guy. They don't want a guy who's 2 years, because that's going to get those other guys like, okay, what does this mean for me? And they don't want that. Clemson doesn't want any recruit or current guy on the roster to have any doubts about where they are in the coaches' minds. So that's why another thing, they got to be real. That's why you jump in now when you start looking at potential candidates, because that 1 year is very important right now in the decision they make here.
Well, and the other big difference here, and this is
if they make a decision.
The unique thing about this year is we just went through the COVID season where everybody had that free year of eligibility.
Correct.
So now they can go get somebody that's basically planning on, hey, my career's done. I'm done with football, but now I've actually got an option. If I want to extend and play one more year of football because of that free year of eligibility, I can actually go do that. So that's something that's unique. The timing of all this is very interesting, because in a normal year they wouldn't be able to do that, and they need a guy. And this guy we have communicated with is very good quarterback. He's not good enough, at least most people think, or definitely not, to go to the NFL.
Right.
But he's a really good college quarterback. So and we talked about that when all this went on around the spring game. That's the kind of situation Clemson would be looking for. As you said, it's got to be a one-year guy. It's got to be a guy that's okay being a backup if that's how things roll. You want to get as high in caliber as you want. And now that you've got that extra year that you could get somebody that's like, oh my, hey, I'm done with football. Then they go start getting out in the work world. They're like, that football thing was pretty cool. If I could go get one more year of that and go to a program like Clemson. So that's what they're trying to find. Will they find it and get somebody that fits that mold? We don't know.
No, we don't. And think of it this way: it's a guy, like you said. He's taking it. It would be a person who's taking advantage of that extra year. That's who it would be. So I look at it not totally the same situation, but somewhat. A guy like Clyde Trapp, who's used up his 4 years of eligibility at the school he wanted, finished up, graduated, accomplished all that he really wanted to accomplish at that school. And now just kind of, like you said, Robert, wants to go to a place where maybe he can take the next step. Maybe he can put himself in a position that opportunity arises because he would come to a school like Clemson, that he could be seen more in front of scouts and things of that nature. And maybe he gets that opportunity in the NFL to be a backup quarterback or something like that. Because all it takes is that one chance, that one opportunity. And so that's the kind of guy they're looking for. And that's we'll see what happens. If they do indeed, because of Bubba Chandler signs, I don't think they go that route. I think they stick with what their plan is.
Last point on this, and then we'll put a wrap on this one. Interesting timing again as well, because Dabo had just made the change to move Danny Pearman from being an active assistant coach to this new role where he kind of monitors the portal and handles that as one of his responsibilities. So the timing all there kind of worked out perfectly from what Dabo had already done. So we're going to see more of this. Clemson's case is probably going to be one guy here, maybe one guy there, maybe some years nobody. But there is a lot of talent out there. But Dabo's, he wants to have a program where they develop players. He talks about that all the time. But there are going to be some unique situations where they may need to go do this. And we feel like this is one of those cases where it could certainly put the team in a better spot. Will it play out? We'll have to see. We got much more coming your way. Lots of football talk all summer long. We got a little team called Georgia that we're going to play week 1. So we're going to talk all summer. We'll have plenty of stuff here from the studio. Stay tuned to the Clemson Insider for the most complete coverage of Clemson football, Clemson athletics, and recruiting.